We are live.
Episode 4.
Episode 4.
A week late.
Week late. And $1 short. But not really.
Not really. Not $8 short.
Nope.
Missed last week because I had a funeral.
Yep.
And we're going to miss next week.
Yep, because we've got a friend of ours is getting married. And so we want to be there for that. So we're going to miss next week too. Missed last week. So hopefully this is just a small hiccup.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully get back to the normal schedule of doing once a week on Fridays. But, so this week, what we're going to talk about, I guess before we do anything, have you worked on anything this week, Mike?
I have been 3D printing Bretonians like a madman. I
3D printing Bretonians.
I probably have about 500 points of fantasy Bretonians now. Probably
Okay.
about.
So, and how's that been going? You've been 3D printing them because GW doesn't sell models for them anymore.
If they sold models, I would buy the official models because, well, they're going to look better and things like that. But they don't make them anymore, so the only choice I have is to 3D print them or buy them the second hand, which they're like $50 for one night. No thanks.
Yeah, have fun with that. I actually didn't work on anything myself, but I helped my friend who just recently got into Star Wars Legion. He had some droids that he got into, so I helped him build his droids, teach him how to do that. So that was pretty...
That droid kit is not super fun to put together.
No, it's not. Especially not the droidicas.
Oh, the droidicas I thought were fine. The regular droids, the arms are... Ugh.
Yeah, they're real spindly, but it wasn't too bad. In today's episode, though, I think our main topic is we just got done doing our Getting Started in 40K series of videos, so I think we're actually going to take a little bit of a departure away from 40K for now, at least for a little while. Yep. We're going to be talking a lot about Magic today and the new spoiled cards for Strixhaven, since that's the new set out today, or not out today. That's the new set coming out this month, and so we're going to try and give our thoughts and opinions on the cards.
On the mythics and rares.
On the mythics and rares, we're not going to go through all the commons and uncommons because that just we'd be here for
17 hours, and we want to play some Commander tonight.
Yeah, we want to do some stuff. But before we get into our discussion, I think we're going to do our crack a pack this week. We got Aether Revolt. Once again, before I open this pack, a big old shout out to Turbulent Games. Thanks for giving us the space to record in here. And thanks to them for selling me this pack so I could open it all for you guys. But,
shout out to the boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Supporting the local shop.
Right. So some of the big hits in here are obviously you can get the alt masterpieces from the Kaladesh block are in here. And I think there's some mythics that are maybe worth a couple bucks or something.
Couple schmackerinos.
Indeed. So I'm not going to go through the commons, but I'll go through the uncommons once we get there. Lots of artifacts in this set. Okay. So our first uncommon is an artifact, actually. It's a 3-mana artifact called Cogwork Assembler. It's an artifact creature, and then it's a 2/3 for 3, and for 7 mana you can create a token that's a copy of target artifact. That token gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. I feel like this could go in a lot of those budget decks that need something that copies artifacts. Like, obviously this is not going to be a very expensive card. Probably...
7 mana is a lot for that ability.
Right, 7 mana is a lot, but, if you can't afford some of the super expensive cards that copy that stuff, this would probably be a decent...
if that was 5 instead of 7, I think that would see a lot of play, actually. Yeah. But I think 7 is just a little too high.
Next uncommon is Tezzeret's Touch, which is a enchantment for 1 black-blue. You enchant an artifact. An enchanted artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 5/5 in addition to its other types. When an enchanted artifact is put into a graveyard, return that card to its owner's hand.
For 3 mana, that's pretty good.
I think this is pretty good. I think if you were running a blue-black artifacts deck, you could do this. I know that there were a lot of strategies with, like, Ensoul Artifact, which is a 1 and a blue enchantment that does something very similar. It makes it a 5/5, and they do it on stuff like Ornithopter.
Oh, sure.
That is a 0 mana flyer guy, and then you'd get a 5/5 with flying for like 2 mana. So, and then this even gives you the artifact back once it dies. So that's actually a really nice touch to that effect. It doesn't just tax you 1 mana in comparison. So I think you could actually make a case for running this in some builds.
Absolutely.
So, and the third uncommon is Siege modification. For 1 red, it's another enchantment, and you can enchant a creature or vehicle. And I forget vehicles. This block was the first block to introduce vehicles. As long as enchanted permanent is a vehicle, it's a creature in addition to its other types. So the nice thing is if you put this on a vehicle, it doesn't ever have to be crewed.
Yeah.
You can it'll just run on this. And the enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and has first strike. So honestly, I mean, if you were running like and it's a red card, right? One red. I think you could make a good case for.
I think you can make a case for this card.
Right, if you were playing a bunch of vehicles in a mono-red artifacts deck or something like that, or even if you were having other colors or whatnot, this could be not terrible. And then our rare.
I know in Call Time there was a lot of blue vehicles.
Yeah, yep, there were some blue and even green vehicles with Asika's Chariot. Alright, and then our rare is Aid from the Cowl with 3 green, another enchantment with Revolt. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card, you may put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it on the bottom of your library.
5 mana, I think, is a little spendy for it.
I think it has some use. I mean,
I'm not saying it's unusable. I think you can
definitely, kind of synergize it with some stuff. It's kind of weak though for 5 mana.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do anything on its own. You need to have permanents leave your battlefield on your turn for it to actually do anything. So yeah, it's definitely spendy for that effect. And then did we get anything else? Nope. That was it. Just a rare and a token and a land. So that's it for the Crack-a-Pack. I think we're just gonna get straight into talking about the cards from Strixhaven here. So let's change the quick change over the scene here. There we are. Okay. So let's just start from the top here. We've got so for those who are unaware, Strixhaven, one of their big themes is that they're going with the they're going with some of the Ravnica Guild color combos. Yep. They're giving them different names because the whole thing is Wizard College themed, and so we'll
the colleges are named after an Elder Dragon.
Right, and so each of the colleges has an Elder Dragon that is attached to their name. So this is for the Lorehold College. And so Velomachus.
Yep.
And he's for 5 red-white Elder Dragon with Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. And he's a 5/5. So for 7 mana, I mean, it's a lot of keywords, but his effect's going to have to be pretty decent for me to be okay with paying 7 mana for that. But when he attacks, you look at the top 7 cards of your library and you can cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Lorehold, his power from among them without paying its mana cost, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
I mean, 7 mana, there's not a lot of instants or sorceries that are going to be more than 7 mana.
Well, it's his power, so it's 5.
Oh, right.
I think at 5 mana, here's my thing is at 7 mana, I kind of am wanting to get something better than just a 5/5 and then maybe a 3 or 4 mana instant or sorcery out of the deal.
Yeah.
I kind of want something a little more substantial that sticks on the board and really is doing a lot, and especially that it's only restricted to instants and sorceries, which in red-white is kind of most of your instants and sorceries in those colors they're combat tricks and stuff like that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of super value red-white instants and sorceries. There's a couple out there.
Especially if you're drawn to a riot control or something. That's not gonna help you while you're attacking.
Right. I think it definitely is going to be a build-around card. You're going to have to really going to have to find a way to maximize this. I just don't think he's good enough on his own.
I think he's one you're going to see in a 99. I don't think... You might see some commander decks with him, but I think in a tricolor deck, I think he plays more as a 99. I think he'd be an interesting commander.
You couldn't. I think as red white, because we're also talking from commander's standpoint for a lot of our opinions, because that's the main format that we play.
7 mana is also real high for
right. I wouldn't run him in my dragons deck. There's just not, which is 5 colors. There's just not enough instants and sorceries that matter in that deck. At least not that I would want to be cast when he attacks.
Yep.
So it just is not a card for my Elder Dragon deck, but I think it could maybe see some use. It's just that 7. If he was even 6 or 5 mana, I'd be way more okay with this. But 7 mana just seems real pricey for that effect.
Yeah.
He does get to attack because he has haste. You do at least get that value off of him immediately,
right away,
unless someone removes him. But
he is a creature. Creatures are easy to remove.
Right. So I think he's okay, but not stellar. He's just kind of
He's just there.
All right. So let's. Back
I don't play a lot of high mana costing things anyways. All my stuff's real low.
Oh, and there's the showcase art for them because they
like
did
that alternate art.
Yeah, that alternate art's pretty good. I don't know why
showcase, rather.
Don't know why the back space or the back button wasn't working, but here we go. So then
Prismari.
Galazzette, Prismari, and so this one's in what is some other language. I don't know what language that's in, but they do have the English
translation.
Yep, English translation here. So he's 2 blue-red for a 3/4 Elder Dragon with flying. So 4 mana 3/4 with flying is do a lot better.
His effect is pretty strong.
But when he enters the battlefield, you create a treasure. Okay, so he kind of refunds one of the mana.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you paid 3 mana for a 3/4 with flying, okay.
The next part is where he gets strong.
And then he says, artifacts you control have tap to add 1 mana of any color. Use this mana only to cast sorcery and instant spells.
And you're playing red-blue.
Yeah, so definitely those colors are good for trying to take advantage of that secondary effect. Obviously, you kind of have to have a bunch of artifacts that kind of combine with this to really make it stellar. He does create you a treasure, so even if he dies or whatever, you can still sack that treasure for a mana. But it is only for instants and sorceries. But I mean, I could see a case where this guy's a lot better than say. Like I guess I can see more
this guy you'll see a commander. The only issue is I think he's outclassed by like another red-blue dragon commander.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Niv Mizzet kind of...
Niv Mizzet is just better in almost everything. He's kind of like a bad Urza.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely can put him in the 99 of a deck that runs Niv Mizzet as a commander or something like that. You definitely. Absolutely. I just don't feel like you probably want him as your commander. Same sort of deal. It wants to deal with a lot of instants and sorceries, so that's why it can't go in like my dragon deck. I just don't have any use for something like that.
I think this goes in a 99 of a Niv Mizzet deck.
Yeah, I could see that, like an artifacts build or something. Yeah. It's just kind of got a weird build around thing. It cares about artifacts that you're using to cast your instants and sorceries. It seems like a little bit of a...
And who knows, there might be a lot more, because this is the Wizarding College, so there might be a lot more that get released, after we do this,
Right, so we'll... if there's new stuff in the future, we'll see if we can remember to get around to it. But we'll just we're just going with what we got so far. And who knows? I might change my tune about that by the end because we're gonna try and go through all the rares and mythics today. Okay. All right.
Quandrex.
So Quandrex is the blue-green college, and so same sort of deal. We got a Elder Dragon boy here, and he is 3. Green blue for a flying trample 4/4. Okay, so kind of and then when he enters the battlefield, you double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. Okay, that's useful.
The next one,
and then his second effect is whenever he attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to his power and toughness until end of turn. Okay. Yeah, that seems really good.
That's very... You get it like a...
It almost... the one thing I would say here is his 2 effects almost seem at odds with each other. Because, like, his second effect really seems like that you would want to put that in, say, like... tokens build where like you have a lot of 1/1s and stuff, and then you swing to make them 4/4s.
There's a lot of synergy with this whole like Avenger of Zendikar.
Yeah.
Plus he's blue, so you play Mystic Reflection, so you have 9 lands out. That you play Mystic Reflection. Now you have 9 Avengers of Zendikar, which each one makes 9 Saprolinks.
Yeah, you could. And then there's like the double +1/+1 counters thing, which I just feel is.
If it was just like double +1/+1 counters for creatures you control instead of target creature, I think this becomes one of the best commanders there is. I think he'll see a lot of commander play.
I think he will too. I mean, definitely the doubling +1/+1 counters thing, plus making things
Bigger.
Only you can only make them bigger. It is a May thing. You don't have to downgrade some of your creatures to make it
right.
Good. But you know, I think I can see more use for him being your commander at least than some of these other ones.
I think his effect is definitely leaning towards him being a commander.
I don't really think I would put him in my dragons deck. There's not things that really have +1/+1 counters, and all of my dragons are usually 4/4 or bigger. Yeah. So it's not, again, but I don't think these cards are really meant for the dragon players like me. They're not really dragon synergistic. They're meant to go with the college and sort of exemplify what that college does. So I think he's pretty good. And you know, it's just he's super cool. I like his art too. The weird wings that he's got too. He's got 4 wings.
Simic is my favorite. Blue-green is my favorite color combo.
Mine too. It's also my favorite color combo.
He might end up being one of my next commander decks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's cool. I think he's my favorite out of the ones I've seen so far. Let's go.
How many more do we have? 2 more Elder Dragons?
I think there's 2 more Elder Dragons because there's 5 colleges.
Yep.
All right.
Next is Silver Quill. You like this guy.
I do like this guy.
Or Silver Squall.
Silver Squall. He's even got his.
I love this.
Yeah, the showcase art is really really cool. But Silver Squall here is a 2/5 flying double strike creature for 3 black/white. Okay, not terrible, I guess. You know, no. He's swinging for 4, and then at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. So, his modes are target player creates a 2/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. And target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. I think that this is really good.
Now, take him. And now you pair him up with the last Elder Dragon. You just double all those, or double +1/+1 counter on somebody.
It's only on 1 creature.
It's only on 1, but...
Yeah, I could maybe make a case, because I think I'm going to run this guy in my Dragons deck, because he definitely seems to be one that's just kind of good on his own. I
think he'll be good in the 99 of your Dragons deck,
yep.
But I think he'll also be good as a commander.
Yeah, you can definitely build, because I think often what I'm going to use is I'm totally okay with giving someone a 2/1 creature, and then... Or if somebody doesn't have creatures, to use the one that gives +1/+1 counters to all their creatures. Give that to someone and then have me draw a card. I think that's often what's going to be the one that I choose. It's going to be able to generate a bunch of card advantage for me, and it's just... he's just also kind of a beat stick, because if you buff him up... I mean, with the one with that +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, it does put it on himself, and that kind of just gets exponentially better because he's got double strike. Yeah. So I think that's definitely a benefit to him.
And it's not till end of turn, so those +1/+1s get cumulative.
Right. They're counters, not just a buff until end of turn.
He starts getting big and scary.
Yep.
That's why I think you'll see some Voltron style decks based around Silver Squall and that effect.
Yeah, you could see that. I think that you could maybe make a case for that. It could also be a good politics card, maybe. Yep. You know, maybe, oh, hey, I'll help you out, but for me to help you out, you're going to have to let me draw a card, lose a life, or I want +1/+1 counters.
If he was like white and black, or white and green, 100% I put him in Feldergriff.
Yeah.
But he's white and black, so I can't.
He's a little bit out of the color combination for those effects, but not the drawing cards and losing life thing, but the counters is usually not super black and white, but...
No.
I think it's I think he's good, and I really like the alt art they did a really good job with. That's really cool art. I'm going to run him in my Dragons deck, and quite frankly, I think he's the only one that I really want to run in my Dragons deck.
The only other one I feel like you could make a case for that specific Dragons deck is the green-blue one.
Yeah,
so far.
We're going to go on to the last Elder Dragon
this guy,
of the Witherbloom College.
I love this guy.
Alright, so he's a 4/4 flying dragon for 5 green-black, which is already bad, so he's got to have a pretty good effect for me to really like this guy here. Then at the beginning of your upkeep, of each upkeep, okay, so you get one on each player's turn, you get a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life.
But the next part.
And then his second ability is pay 10 life, untap all lands you control, activate only once each turn. Okay. So the nice thing is you do get those creatures every upkeep. So in Commander you're going to get 3 go, right. So you'll get 1 on your own upkeep. Yep. So 4 every go around of the table. So that's not terrible.
You won't get 1 the first turn he is there.
Knowing that it's each upkeep, you can definitely combo this with the white-black one to give them all counters and stuff. You could do that. Or even the blue-green one.
Yeah.
So that could be cool. The pay 10 life thing to untap all lands you control, I think is really strong. 10 life's a lot, but I think that's definitely... Yeah, and black-green, that's definitely worth it. I think what this goes in would be really actually good in my... my friend's Gitrog monster deck.
This would be good in Gitrog.
This would be really good in Gitrog monster. So
also notice it's pay 10. You can do this at instant speed.
Yeah, instant speed. So you could maybe kind of trick people into thinking you don't have a response, pay your 10 life, and whip out a trick or something.
And with this, you're playing green-black, so you got a lot of things like Profane Transfusion, like, oh no, I'm down to 10 health. And then you play Profane Transfusion, you go, now you're down to 10 health.
Yeah, so the other thing here, too, to note is that it says only once each turn. In theory, you could do this on each person's turn as you go around. And if you had ways, like, say if you had something like a Vidalcan Orrery or something, you could totally just get a ton of value.
There's so many combos off this guy. That's why I like him so much.
As a quick aside, in the chat, we got someone asking, he's Celtic Wolf here, asks, hello, any top cards you're looking forward to with this new set?
This one?
This one,
I'm so excited
forward to. I'm looking forward to the Black-White Dragon. I think that's going to be cool. I think both of us, a card that we haven't looked at yet, but that we're both excited for is Professor Onyx. Yes. I think we both really like that card. Those are some of the big ones. I think a lot of the cards with like Ward, which is one of the new mechanics that we haven't seen yet. I think those look pretty cool. There's also going to be some Commander decks. There's a line of 5 Commander decks that are coming out with this set. I think they're going to be cool. I've looked at a lot of them. They kind of don't really mesh with the play style that I really like to play normally, but I think they're going to be cool decks for the people
It's
who
a lot
want.
of spell slinging, kind of.
Yep, a lot of spell slinging, which is not really what I try to do. But yeah, I think the big ones are Professor Onyx and Silver Squall for me, and then you like Witherbloom here, and you also are a fan
I definitely think I'll be building a deck around Witherbloom.
Does he have a alt art here?
I'm sure he does.
He does, but they probably haven't revealed it yet or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Witherbloom. I think he'll be a fun commander.
Yeah, he looks super cool. Okay, so moving on. Next on the list is Mr. Hoffrey Ghostforge, red-white. And he's a dwarf cleric. Okay, so for 3 red-white, you get a dwarf cleric that's a 4/5, and spirits you control get +1/+1, have trample and haste. Okay, interesting. So pairs well with spirits. White definitely has access to spirits. Not really red. Red really doesn't have access to spirits. But there's a lot of white ways of generating spirits.
I kind of wish this guy would have been white and blue.
Yeah. But let's read his second effect. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a spirit, in addition to its other types, and has, when this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to your graveyard.
Oh.
That seems really good.
That's really strong. That's really strong.
Yeah, that seems super good. I think one of the main things with that is just like...
That's so good.
Yeah, he's very strong.
For 5 mana...
For 5 mana,
a little spendy.
He's also going to buff up those creatures when they get back because he's going to give them +1/+1 and trample and haste. Yeah. So they're going to be able to attack again, or they're going to be able to get right to either if they have like tap effects and stuff. And you're not even paying the price of them being permanently exiled because once they die, that exiled card just goes back to your graveyard. So I think you can definitely do some super cool.
There's going to be some fun commander decks with this guy.
And stuff with this guy. So that.
I'm excited for this guy. I didn't realize that's what he did.
Yeah. And then he's just got like a borderless art here. Yeah, he's super cool.
That's cool.
A+. I think that'll go... Probably doesn't go in the same deck as like the... as the Elder Dragon, but... Definitely I think he'll find a home somewhere. So. Alright, Magma Opus is the next one.
This is our first sorcery?
It's an instant.
Ooh. That's like 6.
Yes. Alright, so 6 red-blue for an instant. So it's gonna have to do some crazy stuff for me to really like it, but its effect is it deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token, draw 2 cards.
Or you can pay 2.
Or you can pay 2 of the red-blue split mana to discard it and create a treasure. Ugh.
No.
No.
Like I said, maybe they're because you're playing.
That just seems so rough. 8 mana, like, jeez, 8 mana can get you pretty far with some of those big instants and stuff. Like, man. 7 mana for a Cyclonic Rift, and that does a lot. Like, man, if I don't think this does near as much as Cyclonic Rift does, and you're paying an extra mana for it. And even
the elemental doesn't even have like haste.
You do get to draw 2 cards.
So 7 mana for 2 card draw.
And tapping some permanents and dealing damage. It
does a lot, but I just don't, for 8 mana, no.
Maybe in some decks, I know there's a lot of red-blue spellslinger decks that there's ways of reducing the costs of your instants and sorceries.
Back to that red-blue, back to that, I guess you can't because it's 8 mana, not 5.
Yeah, you couldn't cast this off the...
you couldn't cast it off, then never mind.
But you could have the red-blue Elder Dragon using artifacts to help you cast this.
Yes, that you could. I think that's the thought process behind it.
You pair it with him, and so you get this to cost cheaper. I know there's lots of decks like Mizzix. He's one of the popular commanders, and he makes instants and sorceries cost a lot less. So this could be good in something like that. Although a lot of those decks that I've seen, they kind of...
Is Mizzix blue-red?
He is.
Is he?
But I think he wouldn't necessarily have use for this just because it's like that's a super fast deck.
Yeah,
usually,
there's
just other stuff that he wants instead. So
this is casting 1 instance, and Mizzix wants to cast many.
Right. That seems like a dud mythic. Honestly,
a little bit seems a little duddy.
Little dud. All right. So it looks like each of the schools is getting like a big spell. It looks like the only one that they don't have here is the red-white one. But it looks like they've got a big spell in Mythic for all the other colleges here. So apparently this is called Body of Research. So it's 3 green and 3 blue for a sorcery. And you create a 0/0 blue and green fractal creature token with... And you put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library.
Can you imagine you somehow pull this out turn 6? This is my 93 monster. I kind of love this one.
Well, no, it'd be like 80 something.
Oh, right.
You take 7.
But still, regardless, I kind of love this one.
You know what? I'm okay with this. I think in Commander this is going to come out and really just... Because, I mean, even if you do it super late in a game or whatever, it still is probably like a 30-something. So, like, it's huge. Yeah. That seems super fun.
Yeah.
It's really costly on the green and blue mana. You kind of got to be really committed to those colors to make this to actually get there on in a reasonable time. But yeah, I definitely think this is really funny in something like Calamax, where you're copying a bunch of instants or sorceries. Like if you can copy this a couple times, that seems super funny. So
I kind of love this.
Yeah. No. You know what? I'm okay with it. I like this one way more than I like the red-blue one.
This one's fun.
Uh-huh. Oh, this... What am I thinking? This pairs super well with the Elder Dragon because you get to double the counters when it comes in.
This is my 160 monster, and...
And it's counters, too. It's not like its power ever changes with your library. It's permanent whenever it comes in. That is wild.
I love this so much.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Good job. I like that one.
What we got in the chat there?
Got someone, Slayer29 here says, play this, then the green-blue Elder Dragon, and copy the counters. Yep, just like we were saying there. Yep.
I love that. Oh, that's...
That seems dirty. That's just...
Wispy.
Very fun. Alright, so then the black-white spell, a mythic, is Blot Out the Sky for white, black, and X. For a sorcery, create X, tapped 2/1 white and black inkling creature tokens with flying. If X is 6 or more, destroy all non-creature, non-land permanents.
So... The question is, do the inklings get created before or after the board wipe?
Well, it's non-creature, so it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It doesn't kill creatures.
So
it would destroy all artifacts, enchantments, things that aren't creatures or lands.
For 8 mana for that, I'm just like, oh man. If you're playing against a bunch of people that are playing like artifact heavy stuff, then that case can be made. I just don't think that case can be made really.
This just seems kind of eh.
I don't think it's a dud. I think there's definitely play with it.
I wish they weren't tapped.
Yeah, I also wish they weren't tapped.
They have flying, but if they didn't come in tapped, I think you could make a much better case for this being just a...
they come in tapped.
They come in tapped, and they're just... If you get to the board wipe... Because at that point, you're paying 8 mana for a board wipe here.
Yep.
And that's just really not
efficient. Not even really like a great board wipe. It's just an artifact enchantment board wipe.
Yeah. And planeswalkers. I guess it does kill planeswalkers too, but...
There's easier ways to kill planeswalkers. Especially in white-black.
Yeah. Seems eh. I think it's still better than the blue-red one.
I agree.
But... Yeah, still better than the blue-red one, but... Not as good as the green-blue one. I really like the green-blue one so far. Alright, and then here's the green-black one.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one yet.
Harness Infinity. So 1, and then 3 black and 3 green. And it's an instant. It says, exchange your hand and graveyard. Exile Harness Infinity.
Huh. I love this.
I think the Froge, the Gitrog would really like this.
This goes in Gitrog 100%. Even though it's 7 mana, it's getting on the higher side. But something like Gitrog, you play... Oh, that's so good.
I mean, you definitely... I mean, this goes really well with the Dragon, too, because you could pay your life to untap your land, say, on someone else's end step, do this, and then get all those cards to play with on your next turn. And you'd get double the mana if you have that Dragon there, too. Yep. I think this seems... you could do some super cool build-arounds with this. This seems...
Say you're down to like 20 health because you've done it a couple times.
Right.
You've already played your Profane Transfusion. You get it back. You untap all your lands. Go down to 10 health. Then you take the highest person's health with Profane Transfusion.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, I like this.
I like this card. Seems good. A+. Probably not a competitive... And keep in mind, when we're giving our evaluations here, like, none of... We play Commander, but we don't play, like, super competitive Commander.
Speak for yourself. I'm pretty competitive.
Yeah, I know. You're Bergie deck.
It's not even that competitive, really. It just...
Okay. So let's see. Let's go on to... Alright, we're down to some rares here. I wouldn't call us... We're not CEDH players, but we're not like mega casuals whose decks don't really do anything. I'd put us somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Alright,
our decks work.
Right. So we've got Radiant Scroll Wielder here, which is 2 red-white for a Dwarf Cleric. Instants and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. So that's interesting. They did a card like this in Fate Reforged. They had like a monk that was in that set. I think it was Fate Reforged that had that same effect. So that's kind of cool. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. You may cast it this turn. If a spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Okay, so it gives you some ways of kind of recasting some of your...
This makes that the school spell for this a little bit better.
Yep.
Because you think about that's 8 health you're getting back. Because lifelink.
This isn't the... You're thinking blue. That's the blue-red one.
Oh, that's the blue-red one.
This is red-white. They didn't have a...
One, yeah.
They haven't shown that one yet.
I think this card's for 4 mana for a 2/4. This will see play. Will see play.
You can see some play in some decks. It's kind of cool.
In some spell slinging decks, I mean it's red-white, which is kind of a bummer, but
right.
I think this sees play in some decks.
Yeah, I don't really think I'd have a super big use for it. Oh, this is all the...
Oh, now we're at the Japanese arts, by the way.
Super cool. Yeah, super cool.
So good.
And there's Faithless Looting and the normal ones.
Timeout. Pull it up. I got an issue. You got me upset now.
All right, I guess we're going on that. We're gonna do.
You've got me.
Mike's angry rant of the day.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Look at these. Look at this art. Oh, incredible.
Let me go all the way down to it. Calm down.
Yeah. Got me wound up. You had to bring it up. I forgot about it. You've awoken something.
Okay, do you want me to look at that first? Because we passed it. Okay, so I mean, all of this art is pretty good.
It's
like I like a lot of it, and then
this. What is this, wizards? You tell your intern to take his shirt off and you took a picture of him? What is this? Davis.
I don't think it's that bad.
I do.
I know a lot of people hate this. It's a weird art style. I'm not gonna deny that. It's super weird.
Art. That's a straight up a picture of a dude.
Well, that's the thing is I kind of think someone drew that.
I don't think so. I think they made their intern take his shirt off. And I like Faithless Looting. That's one of my favorite cards. Like, come on. Why didn't you just do it all like the tile or the mosaic style in the back? Like, why is it like this?
I love this.
I hate it.
I'm gonna play it every game.
I'm gonna rip it in half.
I love this. I almost love it more just because everybody's so upsetty about it. I don't actually have that.
I think the biggest
it was really jarring compared to the rest of the art.
This looks like it came out of an unset.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit with the rest. Like, just the fact that there's just a dude there, is a little bit wild compared to...
If you told me this came out of an unset, I'd be like, that's why it looks like that.
It does seem weird, because the rest of the art does look very nice. It's just like they took the one dude and a lot... We're not the only ones to say about this. The internet has really ripped this card to pieces. I think it's fine. I think it's not as big a deal, but Mike clearly has opinions.
I hate this card. There goes our Wizards of the Coast sponsorship.
Like we were ever going to get one, but...
Yeah, but you don't know. But look at the rest of this art.
Yeah, beautiful.
So good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good cards here. For those who don't know, these are the part of the Mystical Archive series, which is a set of... They aren't legal in Standard. They're just different instants and sorceries that are popular over the life of Magic. And so each booster pack actually comes with one of these. And there's different rarities. You can see some of them are uncommons, or rares, and mythics.
It's kind of like the Time Spiral.
Yeah, the time-shifted cards. Every pack has one, but obviously the big hits are going to be rarer to get.
Yep.
So,
I just know when we do our unboxing, I'm going to pull like 4 of that.
Of the Faithless Looting, and you're going to hate it? I love it.
Worst.
I love it.
And maybe it looks better in person. I'm going to hope it looks better in person. I'm not holding my breath, but...
Alright. It is getting a little later in the day, so I think we'll look at some of these cards here, but let's
Have we looked at Planeswalker yet? No, we have not.
No, let's look at her, because I'm realizing how many more cards are in this set.
A lot
so we kind of got to this party a little bit late. We weren't... kind of waited until a lot of the cards were out. So we'll just look at a couple of the Planeswalkers and some of the other like cool cards that we might be interested in, and then I think we'll end it there. But let's start with here Kasmina here, the Enigma Sage. So it's 1 green-blue for a Planeswalker, and she's a 2 loyalty Planeswalker, and each other Planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of her. Okay? I'm not a big fan of passive abilities on Planeswalkers. I think it's stupid. I think it kind of just devalues enchantments as a card type, but whatever.
Because why would you run an enchantment when this Planeswalker is 3 mana?
Right. But at least her passive ability, it deals with other Planeswalkers.
This is gonna be.
I can be okay.
This is gonna be in Super Friends.
So +2. She has a +2 for Scry 1. As far as plus abilities go.
But everyone has this now.
Right, it's true. Every Planeswalker can just +2.
These Planeswalkers that have big game-changing ultimates now can also get a +2 with Scry 1.
Yes. And I think this definitely benefits a lot of the older Planeswalkers that were kind of built around they only had +1s.
Yep.
But their ults were at stuff like 4 and 5 loyalty or whatever. Yeah. So I think stuff like Kiora, Crashing Wave, like she's going to like this.
I think people that play heavy Planeswalkers are going to like this a lot. And I think they're going to play it a lot. I think this sees tons of play, especially in Commander. Yeah,
and then -X, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature with X +1/+1 counters on it. Seems but again, all Planeswalkers getting it.
Yep. Look at the ultimate on this.
The ult is -8. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this Planeswalker. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast it without playing its mana cost.
That's so strong.
Yeah, because especially, right, like when I first saw this card, I was like, oh, a green-blue instant or sorcery. I guess you could get, like, the big one that we talked about, but
all Planeswalkers get this.
Right, you could get some really cool, like you could get a board wipe off of like a white Planeswalker, or you could get something like...
if you're playing 5-color Super Friends, that's...
Like Rise of the Dark Realms or something off of a black Planeswalker. You could get a lot of super cool things with this.
The nice thing with her is she starts very low at 2.
Right, but I feel like a lot of the value you're getting off of her is the fact that you're giving these abilities to other Planeswalkers.
I think once you play her, she's target 1.
Yeah,
I think she's a kill on sight.
Yeah, you gotta grind her down.
Because there's a lot.
She has her showcase art. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that art.
I like this.
Little owls.
I don't play a ton of Planeswalkers in my decks. I usually run 1 or 2.
I love Planeswalkers.
I do too. I just don't play a lot of them. I'm thinking about building a deck around the old Tybalt. The really, really bad one.
Well, I think what we'll do here is we'll talk about the mythics then, just because there's way less mythics, and we'll just go until we feel like we're done. Oh, come on. Here we go. All right. So, this is Exetus, Auric Overlord, for 1 white, black for a 2/4 double striker. Human Warlock. And he has Magecraft, which is one of the new mechanics in this set.
Which you won't see any of that in Commander. Magecraft, part of it. Because it's different for each school.
Whenever you cast Magecraft is just whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you get an effect.
Yeah. Right, but there's one of the schools is you get to play a card from outside the game.
Those are the learn.
Oh, that's learn.
That's learn. That's a
Magecraft,
whole other
yeah.
mechanic. That's learn. But so his Magecraft effects, whenever you cast or copy an instant or a sorcery spell, return target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Seems okay. Especially because with the way that these modal double-face cards worked, if you ran them as your commander, you actually are playing red, black, white.
Yep.
So you do get access to some, like, the white and black side is some bigger creatures and some smaller stuff on the red side.
Yep.
So you get a nice in-between of something like this, and then his backside is actually a sorcery, which says that it's 6 black-red for a Awaken the Blood avatar. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less for each creature that you sacrifice to cast this. Each opponent sacrifices a creature, creates a 3/6 black and red avatar creature token with haste, and whenever this creature attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent.
Each person does this?
No, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you're the one who gets the avatar.
Oh.
I said that wrong.
See, here's the thing with this. If you're playing red, you're gonna have goblins. That's just how it is.
Goblins or tokens of some sort.
Goblins.
Same thing with
singers.
white. You can make a lot of soldiers and stuff.
You're going to have tokens.
And I mean the idea that you could maybe do this for sacking 3 of those, and then you just do black-red.
Yep.
Seems pretty strong. I guess the nice thing too about this is if you're commander, you can pay for the tax with sacrificing creatures.
Yep.
So, I think this seems pretty good actually.
I think this will be alright.
And it's also not a legendary avatar. It's just an avatar creature. So in theory, you could have multiples of these things.
You can copy these, yeah.
And right, a lot, especially with a lot of the stuff with like copying instants and stuff. Like you could do some really cool stuff with this.
Like if you were like spell slinging this, you know, and you played this, and then you played like an Empty the Warrens, and something that shifted those tokens to be that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be tough, but
you could probably do some cool
if
workarounds.
you're in the 99 of in the 99, you could just play Mystic Reflection and do it.
Alright, so then we got a black green mythic. So we got
what is that?
Blex Vexing Pest. It's 2 and a green for a 3/2 with other pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders you control get +1/+1, and when it dies, you gain 4 life. So he's a lord for pests, because pest is a new creature type in this set. There's quite a few pests, specifically for black-green.
Yep.
But I mean, obviously, people build decks around, like, I know spiders is a popular deck sometimes. There's a guy here who runs a spiders deck. Insects and snakes, don't you run...
This is going to Hapatra.
Hapatra, yeah, with
if
your
I don't
snake
pull
token.
one of these from the boxes we buy, I'm going to buy this single. Because those Death Touch snakes being 2/2s, I mean, it doesn't really matter because no one's going to stop. That's just it. No one stops a Death Touch snake.
Yeah.
Because, great, this 1/1 is going to kill my commander if I block.
Yep. And then his other side is search for blacks.
Search for flex.
And it's 2 black for a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put any number of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You lose 3 life for each card you put into your hand this way. So in theory, you could pay 15 life to get 5 cards for 4 mana. If you're in a pinch.
If you're in a pinch, yeah. If you really have a dead hand.
Yep. Could see this being useful.
Yep. I think that.
I just love that it's called Search for Blex. Look at this guy.
Flex, the walking pest. That's what he is.
It seems okay.
Like
he seems kind of low power compared to some other things, but I think
3 mana.
he's got some utility to him.
But you also don't play a lot of token decks.
No, not really.
Where I'm making Death Touch snakes, you know.
Yeah. I think it could be cool.
And I run a lot of Proliferate. And...
So yeah, we'll just go through the mythics here. I know there's more of them. Lots of cards.
No, they're not on here. They should be.
No, they should be. I'm pretty sure they're just probably...
They're hiding.
They're hiding from us. Well, wait a minute. What?
What?
That's just a bug, I guess. Or
Oh. Excellent.
Because I know we haven't seen Professor Onyx yet, which is one of
but now we're in commons.
Well, here's some rares, right? The Snarls.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the rare land cycle is the Snarls, which is... Originally, this land cycle was from Shadows over Innistrad. Basically, its gimmick is that you can reveal a basic land that goes for the 2 colors that it is, and it comes in untapped. So you can do some pretty cool things with them.
Those are cool.
They're all right. Here we go.
Yeah, there she is. My boo-hoo.
Well, we're starting with this one.
Boo. Boo.
Mavinda, Student's Advocate. It's a bird advisor.
It's the Tootsie Pop Owl.
1, a 2, a 3. 2 and a white for a 2/3 bird advisor with flying. And for 0, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If that spell doesn't target a creature you control, it costs 8 more to cast this way. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate this only once each turn.
This is going to be a fun commander.
Gonna play a Bant deck and just make all of these big library-sized creatures every turn.
Yeah. This is strong.
Oh, see, and the best
And
part
it's
it's
white.
once per turn, but if you were playing it in that Bant deck, you could just make library creatures 4 times per turn.
Yeah.
Or right, I guess it does say, no, you do exile it instead. Never mind. I got way too happy about this. You do exile what you...
I mean, still, for 0 mana, and it's not a tap ability.
Yep.
This will see play in Commander.
Yep, this will see play.
Maybe not so much as Commander, but I feel like this definitely sees play in the 99.
That's a real simple one to go over. If you got good spells to play them.
As long as they're buffing your stuff. Or targeting your stuff.
Right.
You have a
Next one?
string on the back here, Andy.
Do I?
Yep, I got it. Don't worry.
Alright, so then we have Jazzy, Oracle of Arcavios, for 6 blue for a 5/5 human wizard. So that's expensive.
Yes.
Discard a card, return Jazzy to its owner's hand. Jazzy.
Does it say from anywhere? Or does it just say return?
No, so it bounces it when it's on the field.
Yeah,
I guess you
that's a
can
very
protect it
effect.
from board wipes or whatever. Maybe there's some... I guess if you were playing it in a deck that had maybe like Madness cards, you could do some cool stuff with that.
What's his Magecraft? Maybe that...
So Magecraft is whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1 rather than paying its mana cost. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield.
This is green-blue?
Yes.
This might end up in my AC deck.
You may pay 1.
I may be paying 1 for some board wipes, because board wipes on creatures are a thing.
Hey, you can pay 1.
And then I'll just discard a card and bring it back to my hand.
Journey, and then the other side is Journey to the Oracle.
So 7.
So 2 green for a sorcery. You may put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Then if you control 8 or more lands, you may discard a card. If you do, return Journey to the Oracle to its owner's hand. I mean, I don't know why you would ever really want it back in your hand, because the idea is you just dropped all your lands, so why would you... I don't know why you would discard. Seems Jazzy herself seems pretty fun.
Yeah, I think there's definite... If you... Because you're playing green-blue, so you're going to have ramp, you're going to have ways to get her out.
Yep.
Her, him, doesn't matter. Wizard.
You're a wizard!
You're a wizard, Jazzy. Are we there?
I think we are.
Yes! She makes me a 4-letter word that starts with S. That you can't say on Twitch. It's a bad word.
Professor Onyx. This is the big one, obviously. I mean, this is... And there's her showcase art. 4 black for a 5 loyalty planeswalker with Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. The important thing to note here is that this goes infinite with a card called Chain of Smog, which is a 1 black sorcery that says target player discards 2 cards. That player can copy this and choose new targets. the idea is you target yourself with it, and then it makes infinite damage because it also happens for copies. It's not just when you cast. So that was a card that was a 10-cent uncommon, and then when this got released, it is like $12 now.
Should probably pick one up.
If you're going to run her, definitely. Sure, +1 is you lose 1 life, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Seems okay. Get some card advantage. -3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. Some cool removal. Her ult is kind of underwhelming. Each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. So you do it 7 times. If they don't discard a card at all, it's 21 damage. It is to each opponent, but just seems eh.
Yep.
You're definitely you're trying to get your value off the Magecraft part of this, and the other 2 abilities.
I feel like. See, I've been talking with people about this. They don't think this is going to see play in Commander, but I think this will really only see play in Commander.
Yeah, I don't think this really sees play in Standard or whatever. Not that Standard has been seeing a lot of play recently.
No, because everyone's playing Commander.
Even with COVID and stuff, there just hasn't been stuff around to do that.
I definitely think this plays in Commander a lot.
Yeah, I love the card if for nothing else.
Yep.
Liliana is a cool planeswalker, and I think it is weird seeing that the card is called Professor Onyx, but it does have the planeswalker type Liliana. Yep. So it's a Liliana planeswalker, but it doesn't have Liliana in the name.
Yeah. Well, because she's technically dead.
Yeah.
In the story, she's dead.
Dead, but not dead.
Yeah.
Clearly she's not dead.
Clearly she's not dead, but...
Right, so, and I think there's some cards that reference her past or whatever, so clearly she's, hiding herself on Strixhaven.
There's a card that has her, and then it has in the mirror, it has the card from Gideon's Sacrifice.
Yeah.
So...
it's a really cool card, actually. I've looked at the flavor text of it. It's a really well-done card. Yep. I think that's and that was the big one we wanted to look at.
That's the big mythic.
But it is, we are hitting
Hitting about that hour.
So I think that's a good place to end it off with.
I think so.
There's so many cards here that I just don't think we're really going to be able to get through all of them.
Yeah, it's one of those things we can just do 2 weeks worth of stuff on this.
Right, we could do a lot of content on these cards.
There's so many new cards.
And I think we looked at the dragons, we looked at the big spells, and we looked at some of those planeswalkers and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if we're going to be doing this again next week. We might, but if we don't, then I think it's going to be a cool set, especially with the Mystical Archive cards. Yep. It's going to be packed with value.
This is another set that's going to age real well, I think.
It's going to age real well. Overall, I think Wizards did a really good job with this set. And so that comes out, I think, in a couple weeks.
Yep.
So we'll hopefully be able to get a box opening going for that set. But yeah, thanks all for watching. You guys have a good night wherever you guys are in the world, and
as always, support where you play.
Support where you play. Thanks again to Turbulent Games for giving us the space to record, space to bring all this content to you guys, and yeah, have a good night.
Take care.